Last year I chaired a policy commission on youth unemployment, which looked at the reasons for why youth unemployment across Britain is so high. At the time we had nearing 1 million young people unemployed. So what we were trying to do is really question why this is and how policy makers, in particular the Labour Party, could introduce policies to address those issues. I was never really political when I was growing up, so my family weren't really political. They cared about issues, but it was never through the lens of a political party or anything. And actually I think it was my childhood and growing up which made me sort of get angry by the way the world works and trying to think about how we can change that. My mum came to the country when she was 19 and she worked as a chambermaid, cleaning hotels in the Lake District. And my dad came later and worked as a waiter, you know, serving food to the rich and so forth. And they brought me up in East London. And sort of seeing the inequalities between East London and many parts of the city, that inequality and that tale of two cities really made me think, look, something's wrong here. And it's up to us to try and change that set of affairs. And youth unemployment clearly is one of those issues which we wanted to try and address. How we deal with youth unemployment, clearly there are so many different stakeholders that need to be involved, from politicians to local communities, to families, to the individual themselves. And academia plays a role in terms of feeding in that evidence base to ensure that the work that's actually being done is rooted in science, scientific method and in evidence. So I think that's what we're really looking for that evidence base to help us progress. The first point, I guess, is that there are obviously millions of young people across the country. In East London, where I'm from, I think there's 3,000 young people without a job in the borough alone. Yes, there was the Olympics, which was a massive opportunity for young people across the borough. But clearly that was a temporary opportunity. It's really about making sure that legacy builds and creates more jobs for those young people. But there's a lot of people still struggling. People who are even on, you know, degrees, who've got master's degrees, and working, who are underemployed without the kind of job opportunities they were expecting with that higher education. The many young people that I work with professionally with who are involved with gang activity, many have come from troubled background families who've had drug and alcohol problems. Many have come from broken homes and single parent families. And clearly they're facing a whole different kind of set of challenges compared to the graduates, but yet they're left often at the bottom of the pile. But clearly, in order for things to be dealt with, we've got to think about the distinct needs and distinct approaches which are needed to help those young and disadvantaged people get out of that situation.